Hello, my quilting friends. My name is Leah J, and welcome back to the Friendship Quilt Along. Today I'm here with my son,
James,
and he is going to be quilting. Well, technically it's we is. It's a little bit of you and it's a little bit of me, right?
And we're gonna make block 8, I think.
Yep, that is block number 8, and James is going to be quilting it, so we're going to learn a little bit about walking foot quilting and free motion quilting together. Okay, James, so you're getting started, so why don't you slip the block underneath the foot, and we're going to do walking foot quilting. So you want to get all the way in to the center. So keep wiggling it over until you're in the center. Okay, now the trick with walking foot quilting is you got to face the straight line that you're going to stitch. Yeah, you got it, exactly like that. Now drop the foot down. And there's a lever over there.
This one?
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, now hang on to your top thread. Yeah, okay. Now this button does a needle up and a needle down, so hit it once, that'll go down. Try it again. There you go. Now hit it again. Okay, now tug on that top thread. Move your hand so that everybody can see it. There you go. Now that pulled up a loop. That loop is your bobbin thread. Grab a hold of it and then tuck both of those thread tails underneath your foot.
What?
This loop right here is, your bobbin thread, okay? And so you're going to have both thread tails and tuck them underneath that foot.
Ooh.
Let me show you. Go around and underneath. Now it's tucked out of the way, okay? There we go. That looks great. Okay, let's go over some settings just so everybody knows what we're doing. I've got a straight stitch here in the middle position, and I've lowered the stitch length down to 1.5 millimeters. And this is walking foot quilting. You can kind of put your hand on top of here, and it's walking foot quilting, so that stitch length is going to determine the size of the stitches James makes. Okay, let her rip. Start stitching. You want to go slow and steady. Yeah, you got to kind of play with the speed of the foot pedal, and then I've marked the line for James to stitch. And it's just basically an echo of that diamond shape in the center of the block. And what you want to do is just stay on the line, but you also want to kind of keep the quilt flat. There you go. Now tap the foot pedal one more time and that'll drop the needle in the down position. There you go. Now lift the foot. That's, yep, that lever. And then rotate the block so that way you can keep going on that line. This is the thing about walking foot quilting. You always got to be facing the line you're stitching. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Oh, yeah,
Drop
yeah.
the foot.
Drop the foot.
Otherwise you wouldn't have tension on your thread and it would make a big mess. Okay, go again. Keep stitching. Whoa, that's fast. Now we have a speed slider on this machine, so we can slow you down. So now you can go pedal to the metal and it won't matter because it's really going to force you to go slow. Now you're not going anywhere. Stop, stop, stop. You're not going anywhere because your hands are pressing really hard against the quilt. So instead, let's roll this up a little bit, and I want you to just use your fingertips, okay? Just a fingertip or two. All right, now go again. Let's see if that'll work. See? Now the quilt's nicely feeding through the machine, and the reason is both of your hands and your arms down flat on the quilt was really putting too much pressure on it, and that wasn't allowing the quilt to move. There we go. And stop again. Now rotate again. So you don't need a lot of pressure when you're using walking foot in this style of quilting. You actually really want to use light pressure on your hands so that way the quilt can easily move through the machine. Okay, roll that down. Get that out of your way. There you go. And what do you think now that I slowed it down for you? You don't have to worry about the speed so much.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Yeah. So are you pressing the foot pedal down all the way?
Now I am.
Now you are? What do you think? Is that a good speed?
Yes. Thank you.
And how does that feel to you? Do you like it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rotate one more time. You're almost done. A very speedy straight line design. I think this really nicely accents the piecing. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Drop the foot down. Always drop that foot down. What the foot does is it controls the tension. Let's smooth this out a little bit.
Yeah.
You see how you got it's like a little lumpy there in the center? Can you smooth that out with your hands? Yeah, and then just fingertips, remember. Yeah, there you go. Maybe 1 or 2 fingertips. That's as much as you need. Very good. How does that feel to you?
Feels good. I feel like Dr. Phil.
How do you feel like Dr. Phil?
These gloves.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the gloves are a little bit big on you. All right, that's perfect. I think we need to just rotate and stitch just a little bit more to line up with the stitching where you started. It's just ever so slightly off. And so I'm going to do this.
So good for my first try.
Hey, I think it's great for your first try. Can you just give me 3 stitches? So just 1, 2, 3.
Uno, dos, tres.
Perfect. There we go. Okay, so James went all the way around with that center square, and that is perfect. And now we've got a bigger diamond to stitch. What do you think? Do you want to try a different type of quilting, or you want to stick with this one?
Let's just stick with this one.
Yeah, this is pretty easy. All right, so right here, let's do that again. We're going to pull up our bobbin thread right on that spot. And so to do that, you hit the needle down position. You can also use the hand wheel if you don't have that button on your machine. And I'm a little bit off that corner, so I'm going to back up to exactly that corner. There we go. I'm going to use the hand wheel to rotate, grab that bobbin thread, bring it up to the surface. And what that does is that stops the bobbin thread from making a mess on the back of the quilt. All right, there we go. Reset, ready to go. All right, try putting your hands flat again, but just keeping it nice and light. So here it's not, so much weight. Whenever you put your hands down and there's so much weight, then, obviously the quilt can't move. So try and put your hands on it, but keep it light. All right? And double check, is that foot down? Is that foot in the down position? Yeah, obviously it is, otherwise it would have gagged and made a bad noise. That's looking good. Now you're going to go over seam allowance, and that is fabric underneath the quilt. You can't see it, but you might be able to feel it. Just try and stay on the line and then go right over those points. Perfect. You're doing exactly right. Now when you get close to that pin, stop and take it out. You're getting close to the pin! You're getting close to the pin! Stop and take it out. There you go. Okay, and pull that. So that's a pin and a pin more. That's what I use to base my quilts. Yeah, they go right here.
Oh.
Whenever I base my quilts for home sewing machine, I use these pins and pin mores. They're little silicone nuggets that lock the quilt together and really work great. Okay, back on track. Get right up to that corner and then rotate again. I love how you're jerking your foot off the foot pedal. That's excellent, James. Because a lot of people will kind of keep coasting or keep having their foot on the foot pedal, and then they accidentally tap it, like right now, whenever the needle is, the foot is up, and then it causes some problems. So very good on that. All right, keep on going. Do you have any questions?
Why are we using this design?
Why diamonds?
Yeah.
Well, do you have an idea for something better?
Circles.
You want to do some circles?
No, just an idea.
Yeah, that's an idea. We did this design because it's easy.
Oh yeah.
Because we could mark using the diamonds, basically the design on the patchwork block, and we could easily mark it and get started, and it's very simple and it's very quick. Oh, don't hit that pen! Don't hit that pen!
That was close.
So it mostly just for speed and ease. But if you wanted to do circles, then you could do circles, but you would want to mark them on the quilt first. And I don't have my circle guide. I don't have my circle templates out here handy, so that's the only reason why I didn't do that. Threads out of your way. There we go. Well, you're definitely getting a lot straighter the more quilting that you do. And again, I love how you jerk your foot off the foot pedal. No, it's really, really good. I mean, if you leave your foot on the foot pedal, it can create a lot of mistakes and stuff. Now, you overshot that line ever so slightly, so let me show you a trick. Now, it's okay. You just back up a stitch. Now, not all sewing machines really like that, rotating the hand wheel backwards, but you can get away with it with this machine. Now, you're not on the line, so what you're going to have to do is just kind of slowly veer back onto the line right there, okay? And, yeah, you're going to do great. Perfect. See? Stitch back to it, and now you're back on the line. Excellent. And why don't you get right to that point and then stop, and I'll tie off and bury these thread tails so that way they're out of your way.
Right about here?
Yeah, right there. Okay, good job. So these are loose threads here on the quilt, and what I'm going to do to secure them, I'm going to tie them in an overhand knot. Oops. And that one made kind of a mess, so I'm going to pull that through, and I'm going to tie another knot. So here we go. Thread tails together, make a loop, pass the thread tails through a loop, and then pull it down so it's about 1/8 of an inch from the quilt surface. And I have another video on how to do that step by step and nice and slow and detailed at leahday.com/hide threads. So definitely check that out if you want to see that a little bit slower and a little bit more detailed. Okay, there we go. Pull it through and then grab my scissors and clip it off. So you see now you don't have those messy threads on the quilt surface, so you can stitch right to that point and stop. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, the foot pedal keeps sliding around on you a little bit. You just got to get used to keeping your foot right on top of it. You're really wiggling that around quite a lot. It looks good though. Okay, and stop. All right, perfect. Lift the foot and slide the block over about 5 or 6 inches. So take it that way. No, I think we're pretty much there. You got it stitched.
Right.
And then, do you think we need to add more quilting?
Well, it's your choice. I mean, it's your quilt.
It's my quilt. Well, what would you like to do on it? You mentioned circles, and I actually think I might have a circle template. Yeah, I've got this circle template. You think a circle should go right there?
Yeah, that would look nice.
That would look cool? Okay. Well, what we can do, I'm going to grab my ceramic marking pencil here, and I'm just going to mark that circle right here on the quilt. And I want you to see the difference between stitching circles and stitching straight lines with a walking foot. I think I need another color of pen through here. I don't think you can see that.
It's going to be probably a lot harder. So I'm starting to sew a circle.
Yeah.
I'm going to fail.
You're not going to fail.
Oh.
Yeah, the thread got just a little bit knotted up there. What you want to do is just tug on it a little bit. There we go. Now you should be able to slide it in. And most feet these days, if you take that presser foot lifter and lift it, it'll go up a little bit higher if you just hold on to it, and then that makes it a little easier. Very good. Okay, so I pull up thread somewhere about right there. That looks good. Drop the foot down. And then you can use that button, or you can use a hand wheel to drop the needle down. Now try that. Rotate it towards you. Yeah, it's a little bit harder, right? Keep going, quick. No. Always in the forward direction. You're always rotating it towards you, all the way down, and then all the way back up. Stop.
That was close.
Just one whole revolution, and then that allows you to pull up your bobbin thread. This is actually like one of the trickiest techniques. It's one of the things that I really struggled with when I started sewing. So it's a normal thing to get hung up on. Not a big deal. Okay, yeah, you're going to keep it light, but you're going to have to stop more often. Stop. You got way out the line. I think this is going to be kind of a wobbly circle. Yeah, so here's the key with this is that you're going to have to do a few stitches and then stop and rotate. So a few stitches. Okay, now stop. And I keep the pressure on this a little light so that way you can kind of rotate it with the foot in the down position. And there you go. So you're going to keep that circle, and then as soon as it starts to kind of veer, that's when you need to stop with the needle in the down position. Very good. Take out that pen, and now rotate the block ever so slightly. You know, just hands on the block and rotate. There you go. That looks good. And that might be a circle with a few sharp points, but I think it's still going to work. You know, it's still going to secure the layers of the quilt together, and that's kind of the whole point. Now what you're trying to do is stitch and steer at the same time.
Yep.
I don't think that's going to be very successful, to be honest, but keep trying. If you want to go with that, that's great. You want to move your hands faster. Must go faster. Not the machine, though. I'm going to actually slow you down right here. I'm going to use the speed slider to slow you down. But you need to move your hands and rotate the quilt around faster. Okay? All right. Going good. Going good. I'm going to ball it up so that way you can send it through the arm of the machine a little better. Okay, we're back on the line. Perfect. Now stop and shove all that nonsense back behind the machine. There you go. Now it's out of your way. But you got a kind of a lumpy, bumpy mess here in the front. So you kind of just got to rotate it around and wrangle it in position and then flatten it out and smooth it out with your hands. Okay? And actually, while we're stopped, I can just really quickly tie off and bury that thread tail. And that way, the reason I do that is just simply so it's not there and in my way, or in your way, I should say, as you finish off that line of stitching. There we go. And that's gone. I'll clip that off. Okay, so your goal is just simply to come back around and hit that point as perfectly as you can. But it doesn't have to be perfect because obviously you have a pretty spectacular circle already. I love it. I think it's great. Don't knock it. Okay, slow down even more. Very good. Oh, perfect. That was absolutely perfect. You want to do one more?
No.
No?
One circle's enough.
One circle was enough. Okay, so now do you understand why I chose straight lines for this other part of the block over here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what do you think about circles now?
I don't like them.
Yeah. Okay, so a few tips. If someone wanted to do this design and have it be a little bit more circular, and with a walking foot, just make sure that I would say count, and about every 6 stitches, stop and change the angle of the block. And that could be lifting the foot and kind of rotating it slightly here. But always in with your, have your needle in the down position and then slowly make those rotations. It's really good to count stitches. About 6 stitches or so for a circle this size would be good. And that is probably a 5 or 6 inch circle. This is a 5-inch circle. And this is one of the templates from the Dresden plate template set. So that was really easy to mark right there. And I love this block, James. I think you did a fantastic job. But you put 1 circle right there, so that means you need to do 3 more in the other corners, right?
No.
So we've switched out here just for fun to free motion quilting, just so I can talk James through free motion quilting 2. Change the settings of the machine just a little bit here. Still a straight stitch in the center position, but I've lowered the stitch length to 0, or the lowest setting the machine allows, and that's going to minimize the movement of the feed dogs. I've also placed a darning foot here on the machine so that way James can move. He can basically put his hands on the quilt and be able to move and not have to twirl it around the way we had to for walking foot quilting. You should be able to put your hands on it and make that full circle shape. So let's give it a go. Okay, this is going to be very different. I might give you a little hand. You're going to be producing those stitches, so you got to move. Got to move. Make it go. Push your hands. Follow. There you go. There you go. Now you're making those stitches as big or as small as you want. Yeah, so you're going to need to use your foot paddle.
It's so bad.
I know. It's pretty awful. But that's okay. This is very normal for starting out free motion quilting. Now what we want to avoid is toe catchers, and that stitch was a toe catcher. It was so long, I could have caught my toes in it if we left it in the quilt. So here, why don't we do this? You used to quilt like this a lot when you were little, okay? So you operate the foot pedal, and I'll move the quilt. Here we go. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay, so we're going to come around. And I'm just using my fingertips to creep this over. Now, if you're going to increase the speed on me, you might want to tell me.
Well, you're the one who's freaking acing it.
But do you see how, as you speed up the machine, I need to speed up my hands, too? Do you see that? Okay, so after 1 circle, James was pretty much done. So free motion quilting is trickier than walking foot quilting, definitely. And that's mostly because you've got to keep in mind that the machine isn't doing the movement for you. You've really got to push the quilt slowly and evenly through the machine while also balancing the speed of the machine, keeping that at a nice steady speed, relatively slow, and then your hands move even slower. Like when you're running the machine, it sounds loud and it might make you feel like you need to move your hands faster, and the opposite is true. You really want to keep your hands moving a very slow, steady pace, and probably slower than you're thinking. And that's how you create the nice, perfect, evenly spaced stitches. Now, something new I'm getting into is personalizing my quilts and my blocks. It's a way of remembering when things are created and who helped with them. And I think this is really important. So I've decided to write James into this circle and also 2019. But it looks like I just had a little skip. I just had a little thread break. So I'm going to tie off and bury this and fix this. It's like a little frayed thread here. And then I'll get back to personalizing that part of the quilt. So I took some time to deal with those thread breaks, tied off and buried the thread tails so it's nice and neat. And I'm getting started back right here. And I just need to basically stitch down, finish off that circle, and then I can quilt my son's name in cursive. So let's see here. All right, so I need to be thinking about a J. And you can really do anyone's name in cursive. It's really easy to do with free motion quilting because you can move the quilt in all directions. Okay, so there's a J, and then A. Just take it slow and easy. And then also, especially if it's a long name or complicated, definitely just mark it on the quilt. There's an E, M, E, and S. And then I think I'm just going to kind of angle, let's see here, I've got a choice. I can either come down and do 2019 or up here behind and do 2019. I think it'll look better down here. So I'm actually going to mark this because I'm going to end up probably quilting it backwards. And whenever I'm quilting something backwards, I don't know about you, but I can't do that freehand. So I am going to definitely mark that. There we go, and I think I'll connect that to the edges of the circle. No, that doesn't really look good. It would look good if all of the numbers attached to the edge of the circle, but not if I only have two. There we go. Okay, so I think I'll just wiggle down and connect to that. And that's another thing, is you kind of have to figure out how things are going to connect. I think maybe something like that. And then maybe have the angle. Actually, maybe if I take the 1 and do a straight line through the 1. There we go. Now that's going to look good. Okay, I'm happy with that. Definitely take the time to plan something out before you just jump into quilting it, so that way you're sure you're going to like it. Okay, so I'm going to come up and around for the 9, and then just travel stitch my way back down, come over for the 1, and up. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of a peek there. I think that looks cute. Travel stitch back down. Now come up and around for the O, the 0. There we go. That looks good. And then around and down for the 2. Yeah, I know for a fact that if I hadn't marked that, I probably would have transposed one of those numbers. Okay, so this was so much fun. And while I know it might be terrifying, the idea of putting imperfect stitches on a quilt, I mean, James's circle, he was pretty upset about that whenever he finished stitching it, and he just felt like it wasn't good enough. But here's the thing, I really feel like it's great to do this, and it really combats the whole perfectionist mindset that every single stitch has to be absolutely perfect. I mean, I had to skip stitch and stuff on the circles that I did, so it's not the end of the world. If anything, leaving in a few mistakes makes it even better. It makes it human, it makes it uniquely ours. No one else could have made this particular block except for James and I working together.
So if you want to learn how to make this pattern, go to leahday.com/what?
Friendship. leahday.com/friendship.
And then you'll learn how to quilt block A on your home machine, your sewing machine, your longarm or treadle.
Yep, any way you want to quilt it. So come and check that out. And until next time,
Let's go
quilt!